Okay. Hey, everybody. Appreciate y'all coming in. Thank you, May, for coming in. Appreciate you. Bud Files, appreciate you also for coming in. Tonight, we do have a very special guest, and I'm excited. I am so excited. And before we get to our interview tonight, I do have some things I need to tell y'all about. This Friday or Saturday, we will be going out investigating probably either the woods or the cemetery up in town. Uh, we've been getting quite a few good little uh, experiences there at the woods and at the cemetery. So we will try to go back and see what we can capture for that and everything. So hopefully we will have a really awesome time. Plus, probably tomorrow we may go out in early in the morning. I do have a private location I got to check on, so it won't be live or nothing like that. It is private investigation, and it might take a couple days for that. So, all right, that's enough of that. Let's get into our interview and welcome, Mr. Ron in, and I appreciate you so much, man, for coming in and.
Thank you for having me back, man. This is awesome. Thank you.
No problem. No problem. Uh, let's see. If you don't mind, just tell a little bit about yourself for the ones that hadn't come in the last time. I think May's new and Bud Files new and stuff like that.
Right. I'm Ron Fitzgerald, Master of the Dark Realm, and that means I am an actor and primarily in horror films, and a gothic illusionist, which means I do scary, spooky, weird illusions and magic and things like that, and eat razor blades, burn people alive in coffins, fun stuff like that. Bring the kids. And and I am writing a book called Monstrous Magic: A Career Conjuring Dark Sticky Fun, and that is it's like a memoir, and I talk about my career and where I started and how I became the master of the dark realm and all of the demons and challenges I had to face along the way on that. So that's me. You can look me up. I'm right here. You can come and find me on YouTube as well.
Yeah. I do have his YouTube and Facebook link in the description, so y'all can go over and check
Thank
that
you.
out.
I'm like you. I'm on most or all of the platforms. I'm on YouTube, Instagram, the Evil Book of Face, and TikTok and LinkedIn for you business types. So,
Yeah.
I'm out there. And Fitzgerald'sRealm.com is my home on the internet. That's my website.
All right. I will go back later and put all that in the description so y'all can.
Awesome. Thank you. Much appreciated.
No problem, bud.
Always good to have your links and your buttons on the internet, right?
Yeah. Uh, when did you get started into the illusionist stuff, the gothic part of it?
Well, the gothic part came a little later. When I was a kid, I got a magic kit, and that box of magic started me on the whole thing.
Yeah.
And it was years later. I built a nice career, but it was family friendly, and it was your typical birds, bunnies, and bad formal wear, stuff like that in the beginning for many years when I was young. And then a friend of mine, Darlene, said to me, she's like, "You're way more interesting off stage than on," because she knew about my love for horror movies and Halloween and the
Yeah.
weird and the paranormal, like you, ghost hunts. I've been on ghost hunts and everything as well, and I love all of the ooky spooky. So I decided to make the show that I'd never seen before,
Yeah.
and I infused my show with all that weird stuff. I love comic books as a kid too. I collected comics, so I was a weird kid. I was an artsy bohemian weirdo before I knew I was an artsy bohemian weirdo. I mean, I knew I was, but I mean, the magic I was doing was like I had been taught. I had a mentor, and he did the same kind of thing. He was doing birds and rabbits and birds, bunnies, and bad formal wear.
Yeah.
And And so he taught me that, and I did that. And then I broke away and started my own thing because I loved it. And this was like back before the war on terror, boys and girls. Back in the 80s is when I first transitioned to the dark side. And, and there was like an emerging gothic subculture at that point.
Yeah.
And like I say, I already loved horror movies, Halloween. I grew up on watching like all of the old, Universal movies, Frankenstein, Dracula,
Yeah.
Boris Karloff. Love that stuff. And everything that came after, I mean, um, so that kind of took me down the road like that. And after a while, I let it evolve and it developed into what I'm doing now, which is what I call dark fun. And that got to the point where I'm, eating razor blades and cutting people's heads off and burning witches in coffins on stage and things like that. Fun stuff, all the soundtrack of like, Rob Zombie and Marilyn Manson and Nine Inch Nails and David Bowie and other strange things.
Yeah. I've been telling my audience and stuff like that, the people in the chat, about the show that you do, Eating Razor Blades. That's the one that sticks out in my mind the most of any of them. I don't know why, but it just there.
It is one of those things that gets your attention, which is why, for me, it's always at the top of the show. If I'm not opening with it, it's I'll usually, if it's a bigger show, I'll do a big illusion or two first, and then I'll do that right away.
Yeah.
But on smaller shows and things, that's the first thing I do, because after you walk out and eat razor blades, you can do whatever the hell you want after that. You've got everyone's attention. So You're right. There's just something about that. It's so outlandish and it's so crazy, and there's blood. It's fun, and it's just something that everybody's like, I've had people that are watching through their fingers like this. A woman in the front row, she could not. I was at a biker bar when it was a metal club, and I was opening up. I was in front of a friend, a metal band, a band called Sinister Fate, and there was a big dude, big biker dude was the bouncer, and he even told me he couldn't watch me do it. Because he couldn't watch me eat razor blades. And this was like a big biker dude that was like, he's throwing people out, but he couldn't watch me eat razor blades, which I thought was hysterical, But you're right. So you're right. There's just something about that thing that does it. There's that one. And then there's another one I do called The Vampire's Kiss, where I'm sticking a 12-inch long stainless steel surgical grade needle through my co-performer, my lovely companion's neck. And it's bleeding, and I pull it out, and it looks like a vampire bite and everything.
May says hello to you.
Who does?
May.
Hello, May. Thank you. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Meriden. There's another one says hello.
Hello.
So, what was your favorite thing when you did on stage? What was the most favorite that you like to do every time to
like piece of like one of the magic effects, that I loved? The razor blade is one. I just love to do that because it freaks people out, and it's just a fun thing to do because of, your reaction, everybody's reaction to it. And there's another thing I do. It's like a floating ball illusion, which I've been doing since I was a kid. But it's really, I have a version of that on my Instagram. That thing took off. It got 1.3 million views on it. I was stunned that it got that much traction, but it did. I was like, and it helps that I'm doing it to like 9 Inch Nails and stuff. But I was stunning that it took off like that. To me, it really surprised me. If you want to see it, it's pinned to the top of my Instagram. But it so I like doing that one because it's kind of an old favorite, and there's not a lot of guys in the magic community that do that. And I take it back into its kind of original spooky performance art, which is the whole reason that the ball is animated and floats around. Is I have taken the soul out of my lovely companion, and put that into the ball, and that's what makes it float around. So it goes back into this whole idea of stealing someone's soul to make magic happen.
Yeah. Hey, Vicky, thank you so much for sharing this out. Um, do have you do you travel around the U.S. to do you
Mhm.
shows, or have you been outside the U.S. and done shows?
Oh, I have. I've done both. I mean, I've been across the U.S. I played at the Hollywood's Magic Castle and many horror conventions and other conventions and theme parks and theaters all across the country. And I've also played outside the country. Like you're saying, one of my favorite ones is I did the Hong Kong Halloween Festival.
Yeah.
And who knew Hong Kong had a Halloween festival? I didn't know. And then a friend of mine was his name is John Bundy. He's out of New Jersey, and he does this great character called Wacky Dracky, and he's got a great show. And so we're compadres because we like Halloween and spooky magic. And he had done that, and then he was the producer on the American side. Then he sent me over to do that one year, and it was just I got to spend a whole month in Hong Kong and perform at the Halloween festival. I was headlining the festival. It was fun. It was stunning.
Yeah.
It was great fun. So I performed all over the place, including Hell. I've been mayor of Hell, Michigan twice. It's an honorary position. You're not actually voted in. It's an honorary thing, and they vote you in at the beginning of the day, and you go and officiate. So I have performed in actual Hell itself. So from Hollywood to Hong Kong to Hell. And it was really fun to perform there. I've done it a couple of times. I officiated a wedding once in Hell.
Yeah.
They have a little tiny Hell church in there, and we officiated a wedding. A lot of marriages end in Hell. This one started there. It could only get better.
So we couldn't go too far, could it?
So it was great. So I got to do that. And then at the end of the day, all the time, they impeach you at the end of the day. So I've been impeached twice. And that sounds hauntingly familiar. I don't know why.
That's pretty cool. We're actually getting ready to take a trip to the UK next year.
Oh, you're going to love it.
Yeah,
You're going to love it.
We're going to be going over there investigating with the Spirit Brothers. And
that is cool.
I want to meet a few other paranormal people from over
there. You're going to document the whole thing? Or are you going to live stream from the UK?
Yes. Yeah.
Let me know, man. I want to show up and see that one. That's very cool.
I think we're going to do a couple castles while we're there.
Oh yeah, you have to do that. And I forget which one it is, but they call it. I think it's actually in Scotland, and I forget the name of it. But if you look it up, if you Google it, you'll find it. And it's purported to be the most haunted cemetery in the world, and it's somewhere in Scotland there, and it's really, really old. I mean, the tombstones go back hundreds and hundreds of years, and so you have to go there. You have to go Google that and go, but you got to go there and look that up and go take an investigation into that.
We're going to do a lot of cool places, and so
how long are you going for? How long do you get to stay?
Actually, I think we're going to have to stay about a week because I can't get off of work too long.
I'll write you know. It'll be fine. Just tell him Master of the Dark Realm says you get a month off to go explore the UK. I'll write you a note. Full pay. It'll be great. Yeah.
That'd be good. That would be awesome. My wife, she's a nurse, and I don't think they will let her off no longer than a week.
No, probably not. Yeah, I mean, there's a shortage of nurses and stuff, so we need nurses at work. So
yeah,
but you got to give them a break too. That's a hard gig, you know.
Yeah, she works at a mental hospital, mental institution.
I'll check in later. It'll be great. Yeah. Give me a nice straitjacket.
Yeah. I imagine they've got them down there.
I'm sure they have some things to restrain people if they get crazy or violent rather.
Tell us a little bit about your paranormal experiences when you investigated before.
I've been on some investigations. We went around in a school. We were in the library and some dark places like in the basement, and they've got the the electronic meters and everything, and they were going off, and they were trying get some of the voices to come through, and they weren't getting much of that, but they were seeing the meters go off on movement and on like temperature change, and then the electric changing in the room, and that was really fascinating. And I had my own experience a long time ago. I have a double organ transplant, and while I was on the way to the double organ transplant, I was on dialysis, and it was somewhere. I forget if I'd started. I think I'd started, and it was around somewhere on that time. But one night I was laying in bed, and I was awake. My girlfriend was next to me; she was asleep, and at the foot of the bed, I saw this entity, this apparition, and it looked like like a black cloak, and it's all flapping in the back, in the wind behind, and its head lifts up, and it's a skeleton head, and the arms reach out, and there's skeleton hands, and it's just hanging there, and I was more fascinated than scared of it at that point. And then it slowly, and it felt like a long, long time. I'm sure it wasn't, but it felt like, days, hours. And it started, to kind of slowly drift up right above me. It's parallel to me, like so. And then as it started to drift up and get closer and closer to me, at that point, it scared me. Because I didn't know what that meant. And I took a swing at it. And I swung at it so hard, I rolled out of bed onto the floor, bang. And of course it was gone, and it woke up my girlfriend, and I told her about it, and she was freaked out by that. And so that's probably my paranormal experience right there. I mean, the one that's most memorable, most just visceral to me, because I wasn't on any medication. There was nothing going on where I was hallucinating. I wasn't asleep. I wasn't dreaming it. That's what I saw, and it was a really weird experience, and I've never experienced anything like it before or after. So I don't know if you've ever seen anything like that while you were out on an investigation, but that's what I saw.
God, I had a question on my brain. I forgot what it was now.
It'll come back.
I forgot now what it was. Have you ever I don't know what it was. When you do your shows, the ladies that help you or anything, do they be like, oh my God, what we're going to get into now, or are they just with you, have fun and stuff like that?
Well, they know I have to train them to do the illusions, and quite honestly, they do a lot of the work. They're going to crawl around inside the boxes. They have to know what's going on. So there's a lot of rehearsal in that. So sometimes they look at me like, I'm crazy, but they love that. I mean, you're not going to work with me if you don't know I'm already nuts, and that we're going to do we're going to set you on fire, and I'm going to eat razor blades, and I'm going to cut off your head. That's a prerequisite. You have to know that going in to this gig. So they're all about it. I work with some wild women, and they all love, dark, sticky fun and the spooky, ooky spooky. So they're all in, working with, somebody I work with a lot is Lady India. You'll see here in a lot of the videos on my YouTube channel and other things. And she's just massively talented. She is a tribal fusion belly dancer. She does fire arts, fire dancing, and all kinds of other things. And she's very, very talented. And I've worked with her a lot. So, the folks I work with, a lot of them, they're very brave already, because they came out of the world of burlesque. I used to host a burlesque show for about 6-7 years called Festival of Flesh in Chicago. And I met a lot of performers in there, and a lot of those ladies came over and helped me and with my show. And I also put them in my movie that I made. I made a movie that's kind of, it couples my live performance, my Gothic Illusion show, and a horror movie and a horror story all together into kind of an art house horror piece. And that's called Dark Realm. And that's on Amazon Prime Video. You guys can watch it there if you want. I have DVDs. If you're a collector, they're on my website at Fitzgerald'sRealm.com. And that, and I had a lot of those ladies come in and helped me with the movie with Dark Realm, and then from that point I continued to work with a lot of them.
Uh, do you like to uh, hang on a minute? I got lost another question.
It's all right.
Uh,
We can take questions from the chat too at
yeah,
some point as well.
we'll take questions from y'all if y'all want to ask.
Yeah, if you guys want to type it in there, and then he'll read it, and if you've got any questions about what I do or anything.
I'm just going brain dead for tonight for some reason. It's been a long weekend.
I hear you. Yeah,
It's been a long weekend.
it's all good.
Uh, do you try to get like people on the edge of their seat when they come to your shows, and right off the very get go, and then they'll be like, they don't want to get up and move, go get them a drink or get them a snack or whatever?
Well, some of them might. Most of them stay. They don't want to miss anything. But
Yeah.
it's got to be. I like it to be theatrical and to make it like theater or a good show. I think it should have highs and lows.
Yeah.
It's got to be like a roller coaster ride. So some of it's scary, some of it's not so scary. It's just, nicely Gothic themed and has a nice Gothic look to it. And, some of it's more intense than other parts. And then there's the big illusions and then smaller magic. And I even do things. I have people come up out of the audience and help me do some. I do some things with them live on stage for everybody else. And that gets in a little more into some of the funnier stuff, the comedy and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's a bit of everything in the show. It's not all just, scary and Gothic. I had somebody a long time ago try and tell me that I either had to be, just spooky and do this to music and everything, and or I had to be funny. It could be a comedy show or it could be a scary show, but it couldn't be both. And I proved to them that's it has to be both. It has to be. For me, it has to be. I mean, even our favorite horror movies, even the scary movies have great moments of comedy in them. So, and all of our favorite horror hosts, I mean, basically they're doing comedy, and they're doing it all in the dark and Gothic and horror aesthetic, the look,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vicky's got a question here for you.
Sure.
At what age did you start doing this? Sorry if you already said I came in late.
That's all right. You're going to have to put $1 in the box and we'll answer that question later. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, we did talk about that, but I didn't say exactly what age, I don't think. I said I was a kid. I was 8 years old when I started. I got a box of magic, a magic kit. And I think a lot of us have. You may have as well, Jonathan. And many of us out, you guys in the chat. I think at some point when you were a kid, I think almost everybody got a magic kit or something like that. For some reason, it stuck with me. And I don't know why I knew it, but it stuck with me, and I kept doing it, and I pursued it. I don't know why. It was just, it was a way to express myself. It was a kind of art that I liked because I like weird and creepy things. I mean, I like puppets and all kinds of geeky stuff like that too, but I didn't go into ventriloquism or anything like that.
Yeah.
I like the magic because there was just something about it, and I became a good performer, and then that's before I actually made it all Gothic and horror themed like it is now. That was years later. I got a good start, and I got a basis, and then I changed it later to do my own thing. But I started when I was 8, if that answers your question.
What did your friends think about it that you done started doing magic and stuff like that?
They loved it when when I was a kid when I started.
Yeah.
I mean, I was kind of entrepreneurial, and that's before I ever knew what the hell entrepreneurial meant. When you're a kid, you don't know that word. And we didn't know that word until the internet. So, I had done the school talent show and things like that, even in grade school. And in grade school, I hand drew tickets and sold them, for like 50 cents a piece to my schoolmates, and then turned my garage at home into a magic theater. I had these giant cardboard cards, the 4 aces, that were my backdrop. and I did a show for them in my garage, and I sold them. I printed and sold tickets to them. So yeah, so they loved it. I mean, everybody was very, thankfully entertained, and that encouraged me to go on. But I turned my garage into a magic theater. So yeah, and they loved it, because they all knew what I did and everything. So people like it. People like magic and stuff. They like, it's fun, and it's just I think the thing about it is it's surprising. You never know exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I got another question here for you. I
Sure.
have one question from my son. He wants to know if you know why Penn from Penn and Teller only has one painted fingernail.
Oh, he paints that one. You know what? I wondered that for a long time myself. So that is a good question. He paints the one fingernail in honor of a friend he lost.
Okay.
That's what that's about. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think that's very, very cool. And that he does that, and he does it all the time. I used to do that when this is a long time ago. Again, when I was working in theme parks and stuff, I used to paint my pinky nail black. And I kind of, that was a takeoff of what Penn was doing. I think Penn does his ring finger, I think. And so I was painting my pinky nail. I was like putting a long nail on it and making it black, and I couldn't do too much because I was in a theme park, and they've got to be family friendly.
Yeah.
So I could not get too wild like I am in my own show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never even paid attention to that, and I watched several of their shows, and I never even paid attention to that.
No, he's paying attention. You are paying attention. Yeah, that's why he does that. Yep.
Okay, I will check it out next time I watch one of their videos.
Mm-hmm. Watch it. You got to watch when he's doing something with cards in his hands, and you'll see it.
Oh, okay.
I think he still does it. I'm pretty sure he does.
You also did the Monster Mash too, didn't you? The mix.
Yeah, I did. I work with a band named Housemaid of Dawn, who are friends of mine, and they're out in LA and Hollywood, and they did the soundtrack. Well, most of the soundtrack. I've got other cool people like, Sinister Fate and Aurelio Voltaire and everything on the soundtrack for my movie Dark Realm. But they came in and did the majority of the songs, and he did the score for me as well. And we later got together, and he did. I love David Bowie too, and he did a cover of Scary Monsters for me for my show. And we did a couple of things together. They have an album that came out, I think, like 2 years ago now. It might be 3 years in the fall. It'll be so 2 years ago plus, and it's called All Hallows Eve. And we redid Monster Mash, and it's my voice on Monster Mash. You can see the music video we made for Monster Mash on my YouTube channel. The whole thing is up there. It's great fun. We actually shot that in a cemetery, and it was funny because when we were out there shooting the video, and it was myself and Lady India. She played our monster because we switched and made the monster female. It was kind of like my version that I do with Housemaid of Dawn is like a sequel to the original. Like the original is very Frankenstein, and the one I did is very Bride of Frankenstein. So we went with the female monster, and it was the two of us. And then Vincent Belancio, my friend and director of Dark Realm, and we worked together a lot. He's a great horror actor. His horror pedigree goes all the way back to Roger Corman's Sorority House Massacre in the 80s. And then I think our friend, who was it? I think it was John, our director of photography, John Gilchrist. He was with us. And so it's the four of us out there. So there's a little crew and Lady India and myself, and somebody called in to the police and said, and all of a sudden like 3 squad cars show up and we're like, is everything okay? And they're like, yeah, we got a report. Somebody called in vampires in the cemetery. So somebody called in and said there were vampires in their cemetery. So that was pretty cool. And we all had a big laugh out of it. And the guys were like, oh yeah, we didn't think anything was going on that was bad. We just had to check out and see what the hell they were talking about when they said there were vampires in their cemetery. And that was me and Lady India. being vampires. So you got to go see the music video, which is on my YouTube channel. And the music really good. It's very fun. We played with the lyrics a little bit, and we made the monster female, and we also gave it a Housemate of Dawn Alpha from Housemate of Dawn put in a really great. It's got a guitar solo in it as well, so it's a very different version. If you want to go check it out, it's great fun. And share it.
I think this is not on the lines of what we're talking about tonight, but
that's fine.
I think I first met you through the Orion Effect with Howie, and
he's awesome, by the way. Yeah.
I think of the lady's name at the top of my head. That I first night when you was on there, and I thought, well, this dude sounds pretty cool, and I went and checked you out and everything, and I liked what I seen, and I thought maybe he might be good on one of my shows one of these days. And I just happened, and I really appreciate you for coming to my shows and stuff like that.
Oh, I appreciate you asking me. I always love to become somebody anytime somebody wants to talk about stuff like this and the Yuki Spooky or the metaphysical and weird kind of magic and have me on. I'm all about it. So thank you. I much appreciate that you bring me on and get to hang out with you online and everything here.
That's been a long time though since you was on Orion's Effect, wasn't you?
It was. I was on a couple of years ago. I was on, but not with Howie. I was on with a couple of the ladies that were hosting one of the shows on there, and they interviewed me. And that's on. It should be on their playlist. And that was a couple of years ago. That was the last time I was on with them. Yeah. But he's awesome. Howie and I talked several times, and we got off on a really big talk about magic and the metaphysical, and the quantum, all of that one night, and that was a great interview. That's
the one I was came in when y'all was talking about that, because y'all was talking about a little bit more stuff than what I didn't know nothing about,
Oh yeah, we were all over the place, and we were everything from like Hermetic law to quantum theory and the metaphysical, and how science and spirituality converge and everything. So yeah, that was I loved that. That's how I remember it now. It was a great conversation. I really liked it because we just went way free range. We went all over the place without conversation. Yeah.
So anybody else got any more questions from the chat?
More from the audience.
Yeah.
Jump in. If you're in the chat, send us some more questions. That would be awesome.
Hey, Kenny, how you doing? Appreciate you coming in. Thank you so much. And Jared, appreciate you coming in also.
Yeah, I can kind of see people popping in over here. That's cool. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, appreciate it. Y'all, this is Ron Fitzgerald. He is one of the coolest people that I've met in a long time. He came on my show in the past, and I really enjoyed it, and I want him to come back again. And he's always got a welcome spot here in our channel.
Sure.
Here.
Thank you.
If you
we will definitely be doing this again.
Yeah. If you ever need any kind of something that are just fun and stuff, and over hang out and talk with us, you're more than welcome to.
Absolutely. Maybe back in the fall, my book Monstrous Magic will be out later this year in spooky season in the fall. So maybe we'll come back and talk about that a little bit more then.
Tell us a little bit about your book that you're writing. You mentioned earlier.
It is. It's Monstrous Magic, a career conjuring dark sticky fun, and it's a memoir. It's stories on how I got started in magic. A lot of what we're talking about here, but in more detail and more stories that I could ever tell you in this amount of time tonight. All about how I got started and where that went me, and all the when it turned to the dark side and I started doing, Gothic illusion and things like I'm doing now. And that opened the door to me acting in horror films And then I've done that for the past 20 some years. I've got a new movie coming out sometime later this year, something called Evil Usher. I can't say much about it because it's very hush hush. We shot it. They're editing it right now. So but I'll talk about, I talk about Dark Realm and Magus and something called The Item, which was my very first movie, and that went to the Sundance Film Festival a long time ago, 1999, and out to a worldwide video release in 2001.
Yeah.
So quite a while ago now. And so that it's just one thing opened up to another, and then, like I say, it opened up to things like going to Hong Kong and hosting a burlesque show, making my own movie with Dark Realm, and then being the mayor of hell and doing other weird things. They're just more just kind of just being a spooky kind of, personal brand, I guess, like kind of like Elvira, being the mayor of hell, and then, doing Monster Mash and things, and making the video for that, and working with House Made of Dawn. We did another one on that album called All Hallows Eve, which came out a couple years ago by House Made of Dawn. You can look for them. They're on all the music platforms, and they're also here on YouTube. You can find them, follow them. And I did another one. It's an Edgar Allan Poe piece called El Dorado that we did together, and that's my voice on that one. And then I did the intro on a song called I Come to Collect, which is about the Reaper, which is about death. And that seemed like a fun thing to do. So I wrote the little rhyme that's in the beginning of that. It's also in Dark Realm. It's in my live show. And that starts that song, I Come to Collect.
That's pretty cool.
It's very cool. So it's kind of my journey through all that. And then all the stuff I had to battle along the way. Like I said, I have a double organ transplant, and my health has been pretty dicey sometimes. And even when I started in the beginning, I knew I wanted to be, that I was an artist and a performer. And, my dad worked for the railroad, and he wasn't too keen on that. So I had to kind of end run him to be able to do that too, because he was a guy that, was like, had a mindset like many people do. You go out and you get a gig, and, you work for a paycheck and get steady money and benefits and everything. And that just wasn't me.
Yeah.
So,
So how you doing? Appreciate you coming in. Thank you.
So Monstrous Magic is all about that. And it's got a ton of weird, fun stories in it, So I think you guys will like it. If you guys like scary things and the paranormal and, horror movies and things like that, you'll enjoy the book quite a bit. I'm going to do the book will be out, and then it's sometime around there too. There'll be an audio book and an ebook and everything with it. So
yeah, that's pretty cool. Got another question here.
Yeah.
What do you believe happens to the soul when we die?
That's a great question. I love this question. Well, first, you have to define soul, and what you think that is, and that will depend on your personal beliefs. Here's my take on it. I am a big believer in the fact that I think everything is energy.
Yeah.
Even matter, our meat suit is energy, and that the energy is denser, it's slower, that makes matter, because a particle then is a particle, but when it's observed, it then, it's a wave. It's potentiality, and we're talking about the quantum field here, and this has been proven. This is science. This is hard science, quantum physics. And that wave is a potential, and the way we see things, the way we perceive things, our own paradigm in our mind then causes that to then, collapse into matter, into that. Because if you look smaller inside of matter, as it gets smaller, most of it is space, and that's and energy, and that space is where the energy is. So anyway, so I think the essence of us, and you can call it a soul, you can call it your energy, it's energy and information, call it a soul, call it what you will. You could, chi, there's a lot of different names for it, but let's just say soul. So then I think your soul, your energy leaves us, because our meat suit sadly will not last forever unless we've had enough vampire blood. Then maybe. Uh, I'm working on that. Or you can keep the energy flowing. Or you meditate a lot. And I do. I meditate too. So I think then that your soul, that energy goes back into, and again, this is your definition. Think of it as you will. This is just my take on it. That consciousness, some call it the field or the quantum field, consciousness, some call it God, has a lot of different names. If you're even, pagan, I have people that are pagan that are friends of mine and that follow me too. They think of it as lots of gods, but it's all one consciousness, one energy. And I believe that our energy is a fragment of the overall energy. And so when we are done here in our meat suit, that energy returns back, to where it once came from, to be part of that. And if you're a believer in reincarnation and things like that, then we come back into other bodies and have more experiences, because I believe that is then the whole idea of that behind that, then the philosophy behind that is that is then consciousness fractured out into us to experience itself and learn, more about itself and what it is to be a conscious being entity. And then, we go back and forth, I think. And, then they say that there are those that Jesus, Buddha, others that they, call then ascended masters that know everything and know how it all works, and that they are this one of the purest forms of this consciousness, and they don't cycle back in and out like others do. And that would be that depends on what philosophy and who you might follow into the whole idea of reincarnation or recycling your energy coming back down to learn more. Everything. So I think your soul is then that energy that goes back to be part of the whole. And you can then consider that whole consciousness, the universe, God, the field, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
It's all, and I think all religions and everything we have here are all different user interfaces, like your computer. It's a user interface to get back to the Wi-Fi, and the Wi-Fi is whatever you think it is. I call it consciousness. So I'm sure that brings up more questions than it might answer. Yeah. It depends on what you guys have studied. There's a lot of it's all over out there, and I'm fascinated by this, and that's part of why I meditate and everything too. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Any more questions, or Jonathan? Do you have any comments, questions? I mean, I don't know where you guys are at on this. Everybody's got their own take on it. Yeah.
What do you do in your spare time when you ain't doing filming videos and movies or out doing your shows?
I try and create more of that, or I'm taking a little creative input. I like to go, see a good horror movie or just a good movie in general, taking live shows, whether it's music or a play or sometimes both. I mean, I got to see Beetlejuice, the musical, about a year ago, and that was great fun, before the new movie came out and everything. So I like to go see other things. I'm kind of like things, like you guys probably do, that are in the the spooky or gothic or horror, realm. I like to explore other bits of that, and that includes a lot of different media or going out to have a live experience, do things like that. I also like to cook a little bit. I do, like Vincent Price, Well, I spend a little time in the kitchen.
Okay.
And Hannibal Lecter. I'm still screaming, Clarice.
So sorry about that. What is the when you go out to like the grocery store or go shopping or whatever, do you have people come up to you and like, hey, I know you? Or
I have, sometimes that happens. That's happened a lot. I mean, people, especially in the Chicago area, remember me all the way back to my cable TV show. I have a cable TV show that was on here locally, and it went throughout the suburbs in Chicago itself. Back in from like it was on from 90 to 97. I mean, that's pre-internet, pre-YouTube or anything like that. So when I had to go do a show, now you can everything that I used to do. I had to have a cable studio to do for that show. We could do it, at home now. We've got all the tech here at our disposal to do the same damn thing at home, which is amazing and awesome. But a lot of people remember me for that. So I get a lot of people that say, hey, they know me. And a lot of people just stare at me because, I stick out at the grocery store. Makes me hear that song in my head. One of these things is not like the other. That would be me.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So that happens, but people do that. I get recognized now and then because it's like not from the show. And when I've been on television, doing magic and stuff, and then sometimes from the horror movies that I'm in. They're indie horror films. They haven't been any of the big ones yet. That's there's stuff coming, but I haven't had anything. I'm not like it's not like I'm in a movie with Art the Clown or anything yet, but that would be awesome.
Yeah. We got another question right here.
Mm-hmm.
Who or what influenced you on what you do?
On the magic?
I guess I didn't put it in that.
You can. I'm just going to take it as that. If you meant something else, put that in there as well. But from that, there are some other spooky magic performers out there. One of them that I thankfully got to meet and talk to several times and got to see him lecture was Max Maven. You may have seen him on some of the big magic specials on TV. He's a mentalist, very spooky look, very dry humor, dry comedy, but he's a mentalist. He does mental magic and stuff like that. And then there's also and most people don't know him, a guy named Ricciardi who did an illusion show, big things like some of the big things I do. And he did big scary things, where he cut off people's heads, and he ended his show with this giant buzzsaw illusion where he talked a giant blade, big round blade, buzzsaw, and at the very end of the show, he would say, thanks, everybody. If you don't have, a strong constitution, a strong stomach, if you don't want to see this, you can go home now. And then he would do this buzzsaw illusion. There's splattered blood all up and down the back of the stage and everything. And then he would pull the girl in half, and there was blood and entrails, and it was graphic.
Yeah.
And he did that. And then he would bring people up to come up and walk across the stage to take a look at this. So it was pretty visceral. So Ricciardi, Max Maven, there used to be this whole class of guys called kind of ghost masters, there used to be these kind of shows where it would be a spooky midnight magic show, a horror themed or at least spooky themed magic and illusion show, and then that would go directly into into a dark part at the end where all kinds of things it would black out and things would float around and there'd be monsters in the crowd and everything, and then it would go right into a double feature horror movie, and that was what they called a midnight spook show. So guys that did that, the idea of the midnight spook show inspired what I do. And then strangely enough, and some of you if you're old enough might remember him, but there's a guy named an illusionist magician from Canada called Doug Henning. Do you remember Doug Henning?
I never heard of him.
Never heard of him. Okay. Well, he's been gone now since he passed in 2000. But from the 70s into the 80s, he was a very famous illusionist. He had kind of you can look him up, you Google him, and he has like this hippie style. He was very bright, and long hair, big bushy mustache, little tiny skinny dude. And he wore bell bottoms and lots of color and everything. It wasn't like what I do, but he was the first magician illusionist I ever saw that inspired me that it could look different rather than birds, bunnies, and bad tuxes. I could do my own thing. I could actually change this. And now Doug was all, puppies and rainbows and things like that. It was rainbow was like a big thing. And then I was like, no, I'm going to be vampires and castles and gargoyles. And that's where I took it. But he was the first guy I saw that inspired me that this crap does not have to look like this old school idea of magic. Although when I first got a look at a magician, I mean, they're in the black cape and the tux and the red lining and everything, and I'm like, that dude looks like Dracula. So even then, at that, I was like, I'm in. I'm going to do that. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. Tina says, great show tonight. Yes, great show.
Always a good time around here, right?
Yep. May says she's heard of Doug.
Oh, there you go. Good. See, I knew some of you probably, especially if you're into magic or something, but he's been gone a while now, and I don't know why there's not a better book or a bio movie or something. Somebody needs to make the bio movie for Doug Henning, because it would be a fascinating thing, because he was very big into meditation and everything as well, and studied with the Maharishi Mahesh Yogi that the Beatles had also gone off and explored consciousness with.
Yeah.
So yeah, really interesting.
Vicky says also Doug was good. I might have to go check him out, because I hadn't never even heard of him. I do remember the one that come on TV a while back when we was younger. The guy that wore a mask. I think he was Hispanic. He wore a mask.
The guy in the mask was the masked magician. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He was doing a lot of exposure of magic and how it worked, and that was on, I think, on Fox for a long while.
It could have been. He made that big airplane disappear and stuff like that.
Oh, that guy, that's David Copperfield.
Yeah, I remember.
And I'm sure you guys probably remember David Copperfield. I mean, he's still with us, and he's performing in Vegas like to this day. He lives out there now. He still goes on the road a little bit, but mostly you can see him in Las Vegas. And Copperfield is like, he's like the granddaddy. He's like the OG of all the illusionists now. I mean, he had the longest run of yearly network TV specials of big illusions. And he made a train disappear. He made the Statue of Liberty disappear. He made a jet disappear. He floated across the Grand Canyon. He walked through the Great Wall of China. He just did big stuff.
Yeah.
I had a guy that found me at the Magic. I was performing at the Magic Castle. And I had the producer come up to me. He's like, "Oh yeah. You're gonna be like David Copperfield. He's bigger boxes, and you're gonna be bloody boxes." And I'm like, "Sounds like fun."
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, nothing. I never worked with the guy, but I always remember that conversation. I thought that was funny. And at that point, I wasn't even eating razor blades yet. I was doing the Vampire's Kiss illusion with the needle. But I mean, yeah, that guy would have flipped if I'd have walked in there and eaten some razor blades.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. Got a question for you. Says,
yep.
I got a question for Master Ron. Do you before black magic? What does that mean?
Well, if you're meaning like ceremonial black magic, I mean, no, I'm not into anything, like that. I've dated some witches, some real live witches, and I very much enjoy them and what they do. But as far as like hardcore ritual ceremonial magic, especially anything that would have a darker inclination, I'm not a practitioner of anything like that. You have to remember, I am a theatrical representation of a lot of this with horror movies and my live stage show, The Gothic Illusions. It looks like some of that. It certainly connotates magic and dark magic, but I am not. I meditate and I'm very into the metaphysical and hermetic laws, and I know a lot of this because the philosophy behind it and the idea that everything is energy behind it is fascinating. Yeah. And I explored that. And energetics get into any kind of magic that you're talking about. But in terms of like wanting to put hexes on people or things like that, no, I'm not doing anything like that. Do I think it's fun to think about a voodoo doll and somebody you don't really, maybe not like so much, and you want to jam some pins into it? Well, that's only a fun idea. You might see it in my show somewhere, but
yeah.
But yeah, it does not mean I'm a practitioner of actual what you would call black or magic.
Yeah. Vicky says I'm good friends with David Former. Uh, she said he was very unique person.
Oh,
Didn't
David Copperfield?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think any performer, anybody who spends their life wanting to entertain people and wanting to be in the arts, there's a lot of, I mean, we're all kind of artsy weirdos in here.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've heard things about that too. I've heard some stories, some good and some not so good about David. And I've met him a couple of times, and he's always been pleasant to me. But I don't know him well. I mean, it's not like we're hanging out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Said that very unique person. Didn't he claim to be a warlock?
He did or didn't?
It says didn't.
No, no. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I've had people come up and ask me about that. Even a lot of people think like Chris Angel is actually into black magic and stuff like that. No, no. He's a dude in Vegas with a show. You know, if we could do actual magic, we would just have Elon Musk giving us billions of dollars, you know, and then we'd have his money and he'd have nothing and we'd be rich and we wouldn't have to worry about it. We wouldn't even have to perform for you guys. So yeah, no, I don't think that any of us are doing black magic that is we're earning our dollars just like you guys are, just in a different way, just with art instead of, you know, whatever you might be doing. Maybe you're doing art too, maybe you're doing art on the side, maybe you're not, and that's all fine. That's all about what you want to do. But you know, us artsy weirdos, you know, a lot of people get mistaken because when you have that dark persona, I mean, I wear eyeliner, I wear black all the time, my head is shaved, my eyes don't match. I'm a weird looking dude, you know, so I'm in the right business.
Yeah.
But because of that, that is not the first time I've been asked if I actually do, you know, like metaphysical dark or black magic or something like that. Yeah. Or if I worship the devil because I've been the mayor of hell, which is, you know, no. The devil worships me. It's not the other way around. I'm sorry.
That's right. When you decided going to come to North Carolina and do a show for all of us?
I would love to. My answer to that is not soon enough, because I would love to be out there. I can't be on the road right now. I have not been doing a lot of live performances, you know, at the beginning of this year, because I'm working really hard to finish that book. I'm still writing on the book, but I've got a deadline coming up very soon. I've got to finish it to get the manuscript and have everything else I've got to have done to have it out for you guys in the spooky season for Halloween this fall. So I'm so hell-bent on getting that done that I have not been doing a lot of live performances yet. And that makes me a little crazy because I love being on stage and I love hanging out with you guys, with people, and, you know, eating razor blades for you guys. So I would rather be doing that than making social posts and doing that. It's fun tonight because this is live as we record this, and it's fun to have a conversation with you and do that. And we're going to do a little bit of magic at some point too. You still want to do that?
Oh yeah.
Depends on how much time you have.
Oh yeah, we got all the time in the world for you, buddy.
Dude, that is awesome. That is awesome.
Anybody in the audience have a question? Let's see here. We got one right here. Moved on me. Here we go.
They're always, that's the thing in the chat. Once you get a few people in there, things are scrolling so fast you can't catch them.
So have you ever been to Arkansas? I guess that's what it is.
I've been there. I've performed in most of the states, not all of them though. I don't know if I performed in Arkansas, but I have been there.
I like to go out that way. I've got some friends living.
I've driven through there several times, you know, going down south. I performed in, like, you know, Mississippi, down in Biloxi at a kind of a horror sci-fi convention down there. I've been in Texas. I've been, you know, throughout, but not Arkansas proper. No, I've been there. I visited a little bit, but I haven't performed there yet.
We got another question right there. Can you see it on your side?
Can I what?
Can you see the question on your side over there? On the
Oh no, you're gonna just read them to me. That's
well, I can't read this one. I don't know that word right there.
what? Can you give me some of it?
I don't even know.
Is it too provocative to read out there?
It says, "What are your thoughts on it's KELONTIC science? Sciences."
What kind of science? Hang on, I gotta get my magnifier out. Oh, is that quantum? Are they asking me about quantum?
I don't even know. I never seen that word.
I can't
before.
see it. Ask them if they could, specify a little more. I'm sorry, it'd help, but maybe I can get my glasses on here. It's hard for me to see it too, because
Yeah.
I mean, clearly my eyes are funky, So, funky. Who asked the question? What?
So
I'm looking to see if I can find it.
So what are your thoughts on I don't know.
That's all right.
We'll get back to that in a minute.
Well, yeah, I please, either rephrase it or ask something where we can, figure out what you're asking me. Because I'd love to answer it.
Hey, Deb, how you doing? Appreciate you coming in.
Welcome.
Let's see here. What is the most states that you done shows in? I mean, that you done
Like the number of states?
Yeah. I mean, what is the biggest state that you did and you had like draw a lot of crowd in there?
Oh man. Well, I've done a lot. I mean, in Hong Kong, we drew big crowds at the Hong Kong Halloween Festival. There was a concert here in Chicago. What do you guys? He was syndicated nationally. Did any guys ever listen to Mancow's Morning Madhouse when that was on? I don't know if he's on anymore, but he used to be syndicated nationally, and that was Mancow. And I'd been on his show several times because he was based in Chicago but syndicated all over the country.
Yeah.
And he did a big show here called Mancow's Carnival of Chaos, and the headliner was Kid Rock, and they had like adult film stars there. So there was like ladies wearing very, very little clothing and dancing, and they had little people that were wrestlers,
Yeah.
midget wrestling. I don't know that's little people is the proper term, is what I know. Anyway, there were little people and they were wrestlers. So it was a crazy ass show. And I was one of the couple of acts that was on right before the headliner Kid Rock. And I was doing that vampire's kiss illusion that I do, which is the one where she's wearing a porcelain mask and I take this long surgical grade stainless steel needle and I run it through the flesh of her neck and it's bleeding. And then when I pull it out, it looks like a vampire bite. And then I kiss her on the neck and like I'm drinking the blood and a tear of blood comes out her mask that she's wearing. And now this is in front, they put it on the big screens. This is in front of like 30,000 people live. So this is probably my biggest live audience in the same room, live audience. It was at the Allstate Arena in Chicago and it was like 30,000 people. And when they put that needle in her neck up on the 5 Jumbotrons in the stadium, they went crazy. There was laughter and applause and gross out and shock. They couldn't believe it. And they went nuts. They loved it. I mean, I got that kind of reaction when I did it live, but to hear 30,000 people react to it all at once was nuts. But they loved it. And it was really fun to gross them out with that. And Rancow ran backstage later and he's like, I'm not done with you yet. And he did. He had me back on for some other events and back on the radio in the morning later. So that's that. But I've also been on like national morning TV, and probably millions easily have seen me like across the country there. And that's kind of a live audience that was through WGN in Chicago, and that goes out on cable for their morning show. And that was seen by a lot of people because I had people from all over the country tell me that they saw me on there. So it's live, but it's not in the same room live. They're all over the place. But the biggest audience, single, audience for one single performance had to be like that 30,000 at the Allstate Arena for that thing.
Cool. That's cool.
I've done Lollapalooza too, but I don't think the audience was that big there. I'm the only illusionist to ever play the second stage at Lollapalooza.
Have you ever done any levitating people or things, objects?
Oh yeah. I've done levitating illusions and things like that.
Okay, cool.
I like that. I like the way they look. They're eerie. I mean, when I think about that, I think about there's a video that's out there, and it's a clip from my movie Dark Realm, where I am making she plays my girlfriend in the movie Raven. It's an actress, Kaylee Williams, and I'm making her float, and we're out in a graveyard doing that. And that's part of the Dark Realm movie that's on Amazon if you want to see it. And so I like that because it's got that kind of ethereal magic and spooky kind of feel to it,
Yeah.
Like some of the entities that get reported, things like that. I don't know, maybe you've seen something like this, something that looks like they're just, you're seeing like just a torso up and it's just kind of like floating or hanging there in the air or something like that. Have you ever seen anything like that?
I think I have. I've seen like a 3-foot shadow at a
really
at St. Albans in Rapid, Virginia. We was down in the St. Albans. That is a mental hospital, like a mental asylum, whatever you want to call it. And we was down in the very basement, down in the very bottom floor. And that's
where all the crazy, scary crap happens is like down in the basement. Why is that always down in the basement, man?
It was all the way down in the bottom. Couldn't go no further. And we was sitting there. I was sitting there with the dowsing rods and had a flashlight in the floor. When the flashlight goes off, the dowsing rods move. And all of a sudden, there's something there, little, about 3-foot black shadow run right in between all of us and went down to the end of the hallway and shot straight up the steps. I mean, it's like,
wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It was really
I imagine
cool.
That scared the hell out of you for a minute, didn't it?
Oh, it did.
Yeah. It would be. It would be. And I'm used to like spooky crap like you are. And I'm like, yeah, I'd be like.
It was really wild. And
that's cool. Yeah.
We was in the bowling alley too, and something there spooked a bat. We thought somebody was
the bats go bowling. Sounds like goth night.
It was crazy. I mean, we was on there hollering, bat flew around, and it landed in one of the ladies' hair. Got in there, and she was screaming like somebody done killed her.
Don't hurt the bats. They don't mean to hurt you. They eat all the mosquitoes. Leave the bats alone. But yeah, you don't want it in your hair. I don't have that problem. So
me neither.
I can work with the bats because I don't have anything for them to get stuck in. Yeah. Maybe my eyebrows. I don't know.
All right. So it is 10:16. If you want to do a little something there, I will make you big. So you can, so that they can see a little better.
You want to do a little something then?
Yeah. Let me get you on the big screen here.
Oh, the big screen. All right.
Let me find my buttons. There we go. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can. Good. All right. Hello, everyone. How are we doing? All right. So, Jonathan, are you going to help me with this then?
I will try my best.
I'm just gonna. I've got. This is the thing. Here. I'm gonna tilt my camera down a bit so you can see what I'm doing. You might not see me so well, but you're gonna see. I need you to see the cards. Come on. Oh, here. I'm gonna back up a bit. Okay. You can see them.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm gonna hold them. Usually, you would hold them if we were in person. I would have you up on stage or something, and I would you would hold the cards. So I'm going to have them all here. There's a packet. There's just 4 of them.
Okay.
There's 4, and they're just regular playing cards. These are just bigger, so they're easier to see, especially on camera. And I like that they're big. When I do it on stage, people further back can see them. So 4 playing cards. They are the 4 queens, the 4 royal ladies. One of them is the Queen of the Damned. She is a vampire. So you are going to be our vampire hunter, Jonathan. Are you up to that? You hunted ghosts. Have you ever hunted a vampire?
No, not yet.
Tonight's your night, my man. All right. Here we go. So remember that a vampire hunter, much like a ghost hunter, I'm sure, runs on instinct. So I'm going to talk you through a little story. And as I tell you the story, I'm going to stop and ask you a question. And when I ask you a question, don't think about it too hard. Just give me the first thing that pops into your head, okay?
All right.
Yes?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good. I need you just answer. I need you to interact with me here. And they're clipped together with this little paper clip down here. You can see.
All right.
Okay. So here we are. We are off in a very fancy, in a castle, in a very fancy ballroom, crystal chandeliers and dripping in all kinds of gothic aesthetic and the look, much like this right here. And the 4 royal ladies are in there. 2 of them are wearing black. 2 of them are wearing red. 4-length velvet, fancy, elaborate gowns. And like I said, 2 of them are wearing black. 2 of them are wearing red. Now, 2 of them are leaving. They always stay together, at least 2 of them at a time. So 2 of them are leaving the ballroom. Are they the ones wearing black, or are they the ones wearing red?
Red.
Red. Good.
Red.
All right, good. Your instincts serve you well. You're letting them go off into the night. And then in the ballroom with us are the 2 wearing black. Now, out of them, the 2 wearing black velvet gowns, these fancy gowns, one of them is the vampire, the Queen of the Damned. The other one is a warm drink. So, do you think that the Queen of the Damned is the spades or the clubs?
Clubs.
Clubs. All right, clubs it is. I'm going to unclip the cards and take that off of here. And watch as I open this up. And before I started this, I turned one card face up, like a vampire in a coffin. And you can see that is the Queen of Clubs right there. Wait, let me get it back on camera for you. The Queen of Clubs.
Yeah.
And you can see. So there she is, the Queen of Clubs. And you know how I knew? I was so sure you'd find her because the Queen of Clubs is the only one with a blood red back. Just like that. In fact, I was so sure that you would find her that I didn't even bring the other 3 queens to the party. And that makes you Jonathan the Vampire Hunter now, too. So you can put that on your resume.
Okay. I'm making a note of it right now.
There you go. That's right. That is right. Ghost Hunter, Vampire Hunter. It's official now.
That's pretty cool.
Thank you. It is fun. And I don't do a lot of card magic things like that, just because I think everybody does it, and most of them don't entertain me that much. So that's one of the few that I do. So I like that. And I do other things, but I don't always use playing cards. Sometimes I use tarot cards.
Yeah.
Makes it, spookier, more fun. So I hope you like that. I hope everybody else, you can tell us what you thought of it in the chat.
No.
If you thought Jonathan would actually be able to find the Queen of the Damned.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
Thank you. That was fun, and it's something that'll work, online for us like this. And I like it because it's interactive. It's not just me doing something. You get to participate. You get to be part of it.
That was really cool. I like that.
Thank you. What do you guys out in the chat think of it? Was that fun? Did it make sense? Was it good? Did you find the Queen of the Damned? Who else thought it was the Queen of Spades, like Jonathan? You might be a little psychic.
Ava said it was awesome. Shaw Woman said it was.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Uh,
Dark sticky fun. Dark sticky vampire fun.
Deb,
Tonight. Dark sticky vampire fun.
Deb said Jonathan the Vampire Hunter.
That's right. Now we're gonna have to get you a shirt that says Jonathan the Vampire Hunter on it.
Oh yeah.
You know, Buffy's retired. Now it's you. Come on.
Oh man. So we done talked about the movies you done in your book.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything in the future that you would like to do?
Oh yeah. I mean, there's still a whole lot to do. I would like to. I would like to make some, more movies. There's been talk about possibly a sequel to Dark Realm or another version of Dark Realm, like as a series or something like that. And there's a ton of stories in the book that I or maybe another producer or somebody, director could make movies out of a bunch of the stories that are in my book. So I might pursue that later. I've got to get it all out to everyone first, and then see what gets people's attention there. So there's some things there, and there's some things that I might develop into a script or a larger story out of the stories in the book. And then yeah, I mean, I would like to just do like a full on like Halloween and or horror illusion special for one of the big platforms like Netflix or Max or something like that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, because there's nothing as I watched some other cool magic on Netflix and other places like that, but nothing like what I'm doing. So I would like to do that. I don't know. Would you guys watch that? Would you guys like to see, like, if I did like a gothic illusion, like of my live show, some of that with a live audience, or anything? It'd be like a comedy special, but with
Yeah.
creepy magic.
Yeah.
Would you guys watch that if we were on Netflix or Max or something like that? You can let us know in the chat if you guys would be interested in seeing something like that. I think you might. You're here, so you like ghosts and vampires and spooky crap. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
Vicky and Shaw Woman. Shaw Woman wants me to have a shirt that says "No freaking way." And, Vicky
I love
put
that.
there, "No freaking way" and a vampire hunter.
Oh yeah.
Reason why the "No freaking way" T-shirt that needs to be made.
Yeah.
We was on the bridge one night investigating, me and my dad,
Really?
and we just had bought a Gizmo doll, and that was we've been working with the Gizmo doll for probably anywhere from 6 to 8 months, try to get it to go off on an investigation.
So this is like a piece of the ghost hunting equipment you use, right?
Yeah,
Got you.
and
What does that do? What does it read?
it don't do no reading or anything. It
Mhm.
just whatever spirit hits it on the head, and it'll just go like this and make a funny noise.
Wow. Okay. All right. Cool.
We actually got it. Let me see if I can get it popped up right here,
Mhm.
and we will see if it'll play.
Right.
Okay, you can touch every one of these little toys out here now, please. Already got. Actually, it done got back up 36 degrees. It was 34.
I felt warmer a while ago.
I hear something like something clicking.
I've heard that. And I was sitting right down there.
Will you please reach up here and touch that little gremlin for me? All you gotta do is hit him on the head, and he will go off. He'll make a funny noise, but he will not hurt you. If you want, you can cut that little cat toy on. Don't be rattling the keys.
I ain't rattling nothing. I got my hands right there top of my pants and keep my fingers warm. Ain't rattling nothing.
Okay, thank you. No way. No freaking way. No way.
I told you there's something right there, John, and you don't believe me.
Okay. All right. Appreciate
That's awesome. Yeah, you have to put that on a t-shirt.
everybody. Shaw woman on here, she just carried on with that, and she's been after me ever since to get a no freaking way on a t-shirt.
Yes, you must make no freaking way t-shirts. And then Jonathan the Vampire Slayer. Come on. Or Vampire Hunter.
Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, you got to have that. It's funny. He reminds me of the sound that makes sounds like Gizmo from
It is.
Gremlins when he's singing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
And we had one guy with us in our group. He said, if that thing was to go off, I'm taking off running. And he was scared of it. I said, here, y'all take Gizmo with y'all. And he would not touch that thing, save anybody.
Does he look like Gizmo?
Yeah, it's truly Gizmo.
Yeah, because you didn't have a close enough shot of it, so I couldn't tell if it looks like it. But man, I was like, it sure sounded like him.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's cool. You got to get that on a shirt.
I don't have it in here. It's out there in the truck. He stays out in the truck.
Well, next time you bring him with.
I will.
All right.
I will.
Awesome.
But yeah, that was a fun night. That was a good night.
Yeah.
Well, it's 10:30. Do you want to do one more, and we'll get on out of here?
That's kind of all I had. I can, give you the links and stuff like that, or we can see if any final round check and see if anybody has any final questions, and then we can go into the links and stuff like that.
Okay. All right. Has anybody got any questions for Ron here?
Last round on questions. If anybody has anything else you'd like to ask.
Guys, I'm gonna get him to tell about his links where we can all find him at and all this good stuff, so everybody can go connect with him and everything like that.
Yeah, and get people to on the links and stuff. I've got even a QR code I can hold up for you, so you can use the QR code to get there. You'll have to scan it later. You could play this back and pause it or something. Yeah. I don't know. It depends on if you're watching on your phone or on your laptop or where you're at. And then I can tell you where I'm at and stuff. So,
all right. I don't got no more questions or nothing. So go ahead.
We got a lot of them, so that's great.
Go ahead and tell us a little bit there.
All right. Yeah. First up, if you're looking for my movie Dark Realm, this is the one that has a lot of my show in it and everything too. That is, you see that? That's that right there. Am I getting that? It's a little shiny.
Yeah.
That's it there. That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
That's the DVD. And you can get that on my website, Fitzgerald'sRealm.com is the only place you can get the exclusive collector's DVD of the movie. Otherwise, you can find it. It is streaming on Amazon, and you can find me on all social media platforms. I'm on here on YouTube. Please subscribe. The Evil Book of Face, Instagram's another hot place that I'm there a lot. I'm on TikTok, and then my website is Fitzgerald'sRealm.com. So here is that. Where are we? There we go. That is the. Am I getting that right? Come here.
I got to bring it down just a little bit. There you go, right there.
Right there. So there. Oh, I need to watch in the other. Yeah. There's the QR code right there. If you can, you probably can't get it right now, but if you want to come back later and then pause it and then, scan that with your phone, that will take you to my link tree that has links to everything. And the very first one in the link tree is where you can sign up for my Inner Magic Circle VIP, the email list. And that gets you notifications and and it gets you discounts on things and tells you where I'm performing, what I'm doing, stuff like that. And when I launch a new video or something, and it also, you'll get free music. You'll get the song "Dark and Sticky Sweet," made by Housemaid of Dawn for the Dark Realm movie, and it's got audio from, it's the Realm Lord remix. So I directed, I gave him audio clips, and it's got like an industrial song. It's got audio from the movie mixed into the song, and that's the only place you can get it is by signing up on my email list. So if you'd like to know what's coming up, and it'll tell you what's happening with the book launch and the book coming out of Monstrous Magic in the fall.
Okay.
So you can get on there, get on that on the email list on there. It's the very first link on that link tree off of that QR code, and you can find that link on my TikTok and on my other socials and on Instagram. I think there's a link directly to it on my YouTube as well. If not, I'll fix it and I'll put it on there. Or you can have. I know you said you'll add links later to additional ones.
We do have a question. It just came in just a few seconds after you got started. Says a question: Has performing illusions come easy to you, or did it take many years to perfect?
Well, you're kind of on a journey, and it did. It took a long while to, kind of let my style evolve and get it where it looked the way I wanted it to. I mean, there's a lot of custom stuff. I customized all the illusions, and my wardrobe's custom made by the Crafty Mistress, and so yeah, I mean, and it takes a while to build all that up. And then in terms of performance, you're always evolving. You're always adding to it as a performer to add something new and do things. And then you have a different prop, a different, illusion that you're working with. And some things are more challenging to work with than others, depending on how that illusion works and what all is involved in that. Some things are much more challenging than others. Some are more detailed. My favorite pieces are the ones that are actually easy to perform, easy to do for me. And if it's something bigger, my performance partner, one of the ladies I work with, and then I can concentrate on the performance, on the style, on how I present it to you, the audience, because that's more interesting to me. That's more fun. That gets into the theater of it. But yeah, it took a long time to do it. I mean, you pick up more and more things as you go along, because I'm always trying to add new things into the show, and I will rotate illusions and pieces of magic in and out of the show as I see fit, depending on what I think the audience is really responding to. And if I have something new to add, then I love to put that in and work that out. So it does. And it like anything, it takes a while. You learn your basics. So you've got a better place to start later in your life, in your career. Yeah. But it is, like any art, there's more to play with, more to put together there. But it gets easier as you go along, because you know how the illusions work and you know how you want to present it and everything. It gets easier to do all of that. Yeah. So I hope that answers your question.
Native Wild Man came in. He's been a member for 6 months at the level of rookie. He also gave a membership.
Awesome.
And Miss Tina C there, she got the membership, and congratulations to you. I don't have no welcome member videos right now. My other one got sidetracked because they said it was copyright music, and it wasn't no copyright music, so I can't play it. I got to make another one.
They get weird about the music sometimes. Yeah, on the platforms. Yeah.
But anyway,
you should add some Housemaid of Dawn.
Yeah. So anything else that we need to know about your upcoming events that you're going to be doing later in the year or anything?
Well, the book launch, there'll be more about the book launch later. I'm still, formulating all of that. Right now, I'm concentrating on the actual book itself. I'm still writing and editing and everything. And like I say, I'm approaching a deadline. So I've been doing mainly just that right now. So there'll be that. But I'll be doing some live streams like here on YouTube and some of the other platforms too, as we go on. But
Yeah.
I try and do it usually about at least once a month and catch everybody up on what's going on here on YouTube. And then I'm always launching other, short videos and some long form stuff. But if you want to see some of my performance, so the trailer for Dark Realm, see my TV appearances, some of that stuff, or my old cable TV show from the 90s when I had long blonde hair, that's all in channels on my, or they're in playlists on my YouTube channel. So check that out. And then you can find out a lot more about me and watch some video on my website, fitzgeraldsrealm.com.
Okay. Everybody, this is the guy that I was telling y'all about in the past that when I most thing that I seen him do, the only one that really stood out in my brain is when he's eating razor blades.
You can see a version of that on the YouTube channel as well. It's on there. It's on.
I've told everybody about you, and I said the one that sticks up in my mind was that video right there, and and it does. It'll get you right on the edge of your seat, and then it's just like, God, how did he does that?
Very carefully. Yeah.
I bet it's rough going.
I've cut myself more than a few times. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
With that one? Is there like a world record of how many you've ate, or is it just 3 or 4 or 5? Or
I don't know. I'll have to look in Guinness and see if there's even a category for that. I don't know what it would be. I think because that's a later. The razor blades came later. The original version of that was with sewing needles in the mouth, done by Houdini.
Yeah.
Like back around 1900 or something like that. He did that during his time, during vaudeville and all that, back at the turn of the last century. And it started with sewing needles. And I know he could pull out a whole bunch of sewing needles. And I think that might be a hold a record or something like that. And even Teller, Penn Teller does an amazing version of that. I've seen him do that live when I saw Penn and Teller perform one time.
Yeah.
And that was on the set list, and that was amazing. So it started with that, and then later there was a guy in Detroit that switched it to make it more visual. He switched and did it with razor blades, and I like that just because it's more punk. It's more punk, and just it is. Everybody knows that you do not want to play with a razor blade. So that to me is what makes it a little more dangerous and weirder to do. And it is more visual just because they're, they will catch the light. They're bigger than a sewing needle. But I don't know if there's a record on that. I mean, that I'll have to check into that. That could be kind of fun.
Yeah, that'd be something to look into. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I hate this time has to end, but it's getting almost time for me getting my beauty sleep.
That's right. Back to the coffin.
I really do appreciate you so much for coming in, and
thank you for having me back on. I was thrilled when you came back, and said, "Hey, let's go do another one." So thank you.
You're more than welcome to come back anytime you want to. And I really appreciate you taking this time out of. I know you stay busy constantly, and I really appreciate you just taking the time to come hanging out with us. And
we got a little regular. I mean, we had to get our night together and everything, but it worked out. So I'm more than happy. I mean, you were nice enough to ask me in the first place. So I definitely, when you asked me, I definitely wanted to come back. I mean, you're great to hang out with, and I really appreciate you wanting to bring me on and talk to me and letting your audience come in and give me some questions and stuff too. So that is awesome. Thank you, sir. So I hope everybody is subscribed to you and following you and everything. It seems like this is, a lot of your peeps in here, right?
That majority of them is,
the peeps and creeps. Yeah, perfect.
And, everybody's been so good and blessing and everything like that. So I think that having you on really had an impact for my show and everybody in here, because I talk about you a lot to all these people, and I really, like I said, I really appreciate you coming in, taking the time out of your schedule, and just spending an hour and a half, 2 hours with us. And I Thank
Well,
you.
I appreciate that more than I can tell you, and we will definitely do it again. But I appreciate you and everything you do, and out there hunting the ghosts and doing cool stuff. And thank you for having me on, because this is kind of a perfect place for me to be on with you. With people who like all the spooky stuff and ghosts and everything. This is great. I feel at home. So thank you, my friend, for bringing me back on and coming and chasing me down and saying, hey, let's do this again. And we will, and we'll do it again too. Like in the fall, when the book is coming out, there'll be a lot of stuff going on, and I can talk more about that. Hopefully, I can talk about that new movie, Evil Usher. Oh, I want to tell you before I go too, I have an audio drama coming out. It's recorded, it's voice work. It's just voice acting, and it's the Curious Adventures of Simon Mage, written by Vic Peterson. It's a six episode series of an audio drama. It's more in the realm of sci-fi fantasy, and it's about Simon Mage. The voice that I do is somebody who's a metaphysical and theatrical magician set in the strange land of Orsina, and it's a really good audio drama. And it's, like I say, 6 parts. It'll come out podcast style, and I'll be able to talk about that more later too. And have links for you. I'll be able to tell you where we've got it up for everybody to go listen to, because that'll be fun and different. If you like audiobooks and audio dramas, things like that, I know a lot of people do. I like to listen to audiobooks now more than anything else. But if you like that and you like an audio adventure, then I've got that coming out for you later this year too. I do want to make sure to tell you that, and that's written by novelist Vic Peterson, who wrote the book The Berserkers. And that has got to do with a band. It's a little like the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Got that kind of vibe. It's like crime drama, but in prose. It's weird and cool, and it's also if you like creepy, weird, spooky things, you'll like his novel The Berserkers. So check that out.
That's cool. We will. Well,
thank you for that, because I need to make sure to pimp out the audio drama. I told Vic I would. Yeah.
So thanks everybody. Thank you all, everybody in the audience there. Thank you all so much.
Thank you all. Thank you for the questions. Thank you, everybody.
And thank you also, Ron, for coming in, hanging out with us. Thanks everybody that be lurking and watching the replay. Thank y'all so much. And please go over and check out all the links and things that he gave you. And in the description below this video, I do have his Facebook and his YouTube channel. I will go and put his Instagram link in there sometime tonight or tomorrow one.
Perfect.
So thank y'all so much. And if you want to hang out for a few minutes, Ron, after the show's off,
sure
and I'll talk for a few minutes, then we'll get out.
We'll do the post-show chat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks, everybody.
Thank y'all so much. Y'all have a wonderful, blessed night, everybody.